If anyone's having any problems hearing me or can't see my screen, just let me know in the chat. I've done training the last couple of days and we didn't have any issues, but if you are encountering, please let me know. So just to do a quick introduction, so my name's Adam and I'm part of the Palladium accounting support team. And this webinar will be based on covering all the new features in version 10. So if you got the initial email that invited you to attend this training, there was a brochure that attached to that. So I'm basically just going to be going through that brochure. I've got it on my side, and we're just going to go through all the new features. And there's quite a significant amount, so we're going to break it over 2 days. So it'll be this time today, obviously, and then the same time again tomorrow. So I don't know if you have the email in front of you. It shows what's on the agenda. And it didn't clearly indicate what will be covered today and what will be covered tomorrow. So just to give you a heads up before we proceed. So I'm going to cover all the new features in the general ledger today and everything in the accounts receivable. So basically we'll start at the account sets and bin location by warehouse, and we'll finish off with contract billing, which is at the end of the accounts receivable. Also, I am recording this session, so it will be published and uploaded to our YouTube channel. We've recently just started a YouTube channel, and we're starting to populate it quite quickly now. So it's quite likely the case that you're not aware of it at this point. So if you just go into YouTube and then Palladium software, this is our YouTube channel. So we've got quite a few videos on here at the moment. And some of them are on the new features. So the price list's been enhanced. So this video will cover that. Item weights and the repackaging's covered. These are all things we're going to be covering in the training also. So there's also one on delivery costs, container items, just documents, and there's some older videos here. You'll see 2 years ago is the previous one we sent out, and now it's 2 weeks ago. So we are becoming more active on here, just to educate our clients a bit better than we have been doing in the past. So let's get back to Palladium. So the first thing on the agenda that we have here is, so we've got the general ledger. It's account sets and bin location by warehouse. Also, before I forget, just address a couple of questions that have actually been asked already. So Tamsin, you're asking if version 10 is available. Yes, it is available. It's been available for a few weeks now, and yeah, already quite a number of our clients are already using it. So yeah, it's ready. It's available to you guys. So if you're on a support plan with us, or if you're on the subscription option, then the upgrade is available to you completely free. There's no cost whatsoever. If you purchased outright with us and you're not on a support contract, then there is a cost associated to purchasing version 10. If you have any questions, if you could try and save them for the end, we'll try and get through everything in the meantime. And yeah, we'll go through that. Del, unfortunately I can't make you the presenter. We're doing it as a webinar, so it'll just be myself speaking. If you have any questions, we'll address them at the end if that's all right with you. Okay, so let's get started. So account sets. So this is where in the general ledger, you go into here and here's your account sets. So in nature, they're quite similar to inventory categories in nature in terms of it's another method to segment your inventory, just to be able to see how some items are outperforming others in terms of sales and revenue and cost of goods sold, etc. But with the categories, it's more just for reporting purposes. You can't, whereas the account sets is more from the accounting side of things. So if I go into account set, we've got one here for vehicles. So you can link different types of inventory to different account sets. So for example, I have one here for vehicles. So all my vehicles on my system I'd link to this account set. So all my revenue goes to this account, my cost of goods sold goes to this account, and my assets into this account. Whereas if I was selling, let's say, motorcycles, then I'd create a different account set and link them to different accounts. That way we can run reports, accounting reports, just to see how is our inventory performing for us. And to link this to your item, so you set it up here in the GL, in the account set, but to link it to your inventory, so you go to the inventory master file, which is down here, so your inventory and services, and we'll go into any item we have here, and under location, this is where you link your account set. So we can link an account set per item, per location. So like I was saying now with the vehicles, although we might assign the vehicles all to one account set, but if you have more than one location, you might want to compare the cost of sales and the revenue vehicles are generating for you in branch A and branch B. So in that situation, I'd recommend that you created a separate account set for vehicles for one branch than you would to another branch. So it's easier to compare a bit later on. So then I'll just change it as simply as that basically. So in this case, I've got two locations, default and Durban stores. And the second part of that first thing on the agenda is the bin locations. So we've added this field here. So what this is basically is it's a reference as to where you store this item in your warehouse. So what you put in here is completely up to you and depends on how you segment your warehouse. So if I say there might be an area of my warehouse that we refer to as A1. So what that would mean is this item, you'll find it to be located in A1 area of the warehouse. And in this other warehouse, it might be in R5 or whatever it may be. So this completely depends on how you segment your warehouse, really. It's just to help you. So if you're giving a pick ticket or you need to get a sales order together to collect your items, it's just so you can quickly identify where you'll find that item in the warehouse. It's especially helpful with stock count. So if I come out of here and I'll quickly show you a stock count sheet, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's have a look. So we've got stock count sheets. Open that up. We'll just do it for everything. Select all items. And then here, so here's the bin location field, but it's blank at the moment because I haven't set up a bin location for all these sample items. But then when you give this to your person who does the stock count, obviously it will help them a lot in their process of doing so, doing the stock count as efficiently as possible. So that's your account sets and that's your bin location. Again, if you have any questions, do let me know. Feel free to send them through. Save them for the end, or you can email Palladium at support.coza, or alternatively you can email myself directly if you don't want to ask these questions at the end of the video. So this is my email address. I'm going to send it in the chat so you've all got it on hand. And support at Palladium.coza, or obviously feel free to contact us directly, telephonically, or whatever means is best for yourself. So moving on to the next one, so we have customer and vendor journals. So it's particularly useful in writing off bad debt. So previously on Palladium, before version 10, you might be aware, so we used to have to do it via a credit note. You'd select your customer. We'll select any of these. Let's go for Paul. And then we'd select the journal code before. So we should have a journal called Bad Debts. I might not have it created on this database, but let's have a look. I've only got this one set up. So yeah, you just write off the amounts you're writing off to bad debts from this customer. So we'd be crediting this guy's account in theory. So it's quite a tedious process, a bit longer than what it is now. So there's a much quicker way of doing that now. So if we close here, you go back to the general ledger. So the journal entry, this was here before, but it's been strongly enhanced. So if I go into here now, and so now you can select the module. So I'm going to write off bad debts. So I'm going to select this accounts receivable, and here we select a customer. So let's select a customer who's owing us money. Let's go for Eskom. Comments, bad debts, and you can apply this you can actually apply it directly to an invoice that's already on the system. So I've got 4 invoices here with Eskom. Let's write off this one here. So I select it, click OK, and it'll automatically pull through the value here. So we're going to credit this account, and we're going to write it off to bad debts. There we go, we do have this account. And let's put in a comment, bad debts. You hit record. And then on most processing pages on Palladium, you'll notice we have this icon here, View Journal Entry, so we can see exactly what's happened as a consequence of the journal entry I just processed. So you can see we've credited the customer account and we've debited the bad debts account. So it's a lot simpler now to write off bad debts. Moving on to, so this next one we're going to cover now is the segmented general ledger. So this is arguably probably our most powerful new feature. So if I go into accounts, this is the generic setup and what you might be used to with Palladium. So before you could only have 2 segments of 4 numbers, so eight numbers, and that is as deep as our segments could go. We couldn't go any deeper than that. But now with the new development, we can go up to 10 levels deep. So I'll show you how you can set that up. For instance, if you want your accounts, you have your main account, and then perhaps you want the next 4 digits to be your branch. So you might have a different number for Durban, Cape Town, Pretoria, whatever it may be. But now we can add a further segment, so you can filter by department either. So it might be marketing, sales, support, wherever it may be. So let's have a look. So yeah, this is how you set it up. So like with many new features on Palladium, the first stage starts in the control panel, company options, and then general. And then down here you'll see GL segmentation. And if we click here, and here's our segments, as you can see we can go 10 levels deep. But for the sake of the example, for the sake of the demonstration, I'm going to keep it short and sweet, so I'm just going to add an additional segment. But the principle and the process is the same for going up to 10 levels, but obviously it'll just take a bit more time setting it up. So I'm just going to stick to the additional 1 for now. So let's stick to my example of segment 2 will be a branch. And segment 3 is, let's say, department. And we're going to choose the format, so it can be alphanumeric, alpha, or just numeric. We'll go for numeric. But let's go against the norm and let's select 2 character places. So we've set this up now. This is our foundation. So now if we select OK, the system is now asking us to populate some accounts for that additional segment we have, so the department part of it. So I'm just going to set up a couple here. So 01, let's call it for marketing. 02, let's have it for sales. 03, and we'll have it for the support team, that includes myself. And then you just clicked OK. So these are we just set up 3 now. We can always add more further down the line. Select OK. And then, Georgia, if you have a question, if you could, you can put it into the chat, and if I find an opportunity to address it, I'll go to it. Otherwise, I'll go through all the questions at the end if that's all right. Yeah, so on this page that's popped up now, it's pulling through. So you see in this segment here, it's shown as our old account number. So it's just the 2 segments. Whereas on this side, it's shown as the new code. So it's added on the department here. And you can change these here. So I'm changing these to 02. We'll select a few here and there, wherever it may be. So, and then once you're done in this section, you select OK. And then we go and then it's just it's creating our account. So account numbers have been updated successfully. I do acknowledge this is a new feature and quite different to how it was before. So it's one of the reasons we're recording this session, so you can go back and follow the steps I'm going through. So then we're going to click generate. So it's just letting us know the new segments we've created. And again, we click save. Accounts created successfully. So that's the basic setup of the GL segmentation at the foundation level. So we've set up the default settings basically. So now if we go back to the general ledger, accounts, and you'll see it's amended this. There's no longer just 2 segments, it's now added on the 3rd segment. So now, the next thing, so now we've done the basics, so now we want to create a new account. How do we do this now on version 10? So we go into new, the same way we used to. So we have 2 options now. So there's build and there's add segment values. So if you're going to use numbers that already exist over here, i.e. 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, and then 0, 0, 0, or 5002, we can just go straight to build because these segments already exist on the system. So let's just quickly do that. So I'm going to call it training, go to build, and you see these ones exist already. So if I wanted to make an account called 1025, at this point you can see it's not there. So at this point I can't create that account. But at this very moment I'm just going to create one using the numbers that are already here. So I'm going to go for this one. So this is our main account number. And then it's bringing us to our branch. So it's the second 4 digits. And then the department. These are the ones I created before, if you remember. So I'm just going to add one of these on. And as quickly as that, it's created that account. But in the instance that we're going to use new values, you would need to go over here. So you go to add segment value. So we'll start off with our main account number. And let's create a code that we don't see down here. So let's go 1143. We'll call it trading so we can identify it easily later. Assets, full account, and you just select OK. So that's created the first part. So if I go back to build now, which shows you the accounts, the set numbers that already exist, the one we just created should appear here, and you'll see if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, here's the account we set up here, the first 4 numbers. But let's finish off creating the second segment and the 3rd segment before we put it all together. So back to add segment values. Well, let's go to branch now. So let's create a branch number. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll call it Johannesburg. Select OK. So now we've created our branch. Now let's go and add a 3rd department. Let's create another one. So let's what's another department we can use? Let's do finance. Select OK. Let's come back here, select. So now we can select build because we've created the account numbers we want to use. Build, scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's our first 4 numbers, and now it's come through to the second 4 numbers, and finance. And now we've got our account set up. So it's pulled through the descriptions of what we signed before. So the first one was training, Joburg, finance. You can change this if required. So yes, so that's how the general segmentation works, and that's how you set it up. I know it probably will take some time to get used to, but yeah, I'd recommend you view the recording. I think if you watch it one more time, you'll get the hang of it. So there we're finished with the general ledger. That's all the new features in the general ledger. So we've done the account sets, bin locations, and the GL segmentation, customer and vendor journals. So now we're going to move on to the new features in accounts receivable. I'm just going to open the brochure and see if it follows the same path that I'm going through. So yes, okay, so we have customer and vendor workflow processing rules. So what this allows companies to set up stringent workflow rules. So let's have a look. Let me show you. So if we go to accounts receivable, I'm going to go to a customer. Let's go into any customer. And then settings. So this new feature is in reference to this here, this block here. This wasn't available on the previous versions. So all that it means is, so you may have, depending on the processes and workflow flows in your company, so customers, you may only allow invoices to be created when they've been converted from a sales order. So if this is the only one that's ticked, that means we won't be able to convert from a delivery advice or create a new invoice directly for this customer. This customer needs to go through the process. Your staff need to go through the workflow process of creating a sales order first and then converting to a sales order. So this is all quite flexible depending on what you require. And this has also been applied to the vendor side of things, accounts payable. So if you just flip it around, so let's go and take a look. We'll select OK. Let's go back out of here. Accounts payable. Select the vendor. Any vendor will do. We've got our settings, and then it's this section in the vendors. So again, the same principle applies. So if we untick these, for this vendor, we can't just simply go and create a new invoice, and we can't convert from purchase order. For this particular vendor, it has to be converted from a GRV. In most cases, these are all ticked, but it just allows you a bit of flexibility depending on what your workflow rules are. So that's the first new feature on version 10 for the accounts receivable, accounts payable. So then the next one in line that we have is its item weights. So as you may or may not know, we do quite a lot of custom development for our clients. 95% of the features you actually see on here are through recommendations from our clients. And this is another example of this. So this item weights we've added, we did this custom development for a client specifically. So let's have a look. Let's go an item here. So in large, this doesn't look like it's changed much. It's this segment at the bottom you can see. This has been added. Weights and dimensions. So you can now assign a weight, volumetric weights, etc. And you can choose, you can elect the unit of weight. So let's put in, let's start it. Let's create a new item. So let's call it potatoes, and we'll say it's 10 kilograms worth 10 kgs. kg potatoes, 10 kilograms, and let's link it to a category. We go to our account set, let's link all these up. You can even add an item image in case you didn't know what a potato looked like. We can do that. I think, funnily enough, I do have an item of potato. I don't. Never mind. So yeah, so down here, this is the important part. So the weight. So we can put, let's put 10 kilograms and units of weight kgs. So now item already exists. Okay, let's have a look then. Let me go to that original item then rather. So potatoes. Oh, okay, I've already got it set up here. So let's go into there. And we've got the weight, 10 kilograms. Here's the image. So I already had it set up. So on all sales documents, on all processing documents, sales and purchases, it'll pull through the item weights. So if we go onto a sales invoice, select the customer, let's select our item. So it's just pulling through the journals because of this filter. And potatoes. And here you can see it's automatically pulled through the weight of this sales document. I mean, and this pulls through to a lot of areas of Palladium, specifically warehousing. There's a new feature called delivery costs, which we'll cover. I think it's in tomorrow's session, or actually we'll be covering it towards the end of this one. So you can base your delivery costs depending on the weight of the delivery. And that was the reason our clients actually wanted this development done. So if we change the quantity here, it will adjust the weight accordingly. And there you go. And that's on all processing documents, the item weights pulls through, as long as it's set up in the inventory master file. So moving on, so what do we have next? So next we have the customer inventory manager is the next one on the brochure and on the email. So if I come out of here now, so what this one is, in fact, the version I'm currently on, this one isn't on here. this small feature actually isn't available yet. It's still in testing, but what it is, it's the flip side of what's already exists for the vendor. So if I go into a vendor and we go to item pricing, let's just pull up an item quickly. So here's my item code, our item code, but it allows you to input the item code that the vendor applies to this specific item. So when you put that in and you do an invoice or whatnot to the vendor, it includes your item code and the vendor. So it just helps the vendor on their side. So basically what we are adding, it's currently in the testing stage at the moment, but this will be included for the other side with the customers. So you'll be able to have your item code and you'll be able to have the customer's item code, which just makes life a lot easier for your customers when they purchase from you. A small but very useful feature again. And moving on again, so next we have the sales order processing with unavailable inventory. So again, everything seems to route back to the control panel. If we go here, we just see if there's a good chance to take a couple of questions. I'll ask you for your question at the end if that's all right, George. Okay, so now let's go back to where I was. So control panel, company options, inventory. So here, this part has been included now. So sales order processing with unavailable inventory. So, I mean, at a glance, it seems quite similar to this feature where we don't allow for negative inventory, you have the option. But, I mean, there's some critical differences, really. I mean, firstly, this one at the top, it's either or. You can go into negative or you can't go into negative. And once you do go into negative, you can't then all of a sudden you decide you don't allow yourself to go into negative. So this one gives you the option. So when you're selling an item, which maybe you have 2 in stock at the moment, but you do a sales order for 3, instead of blocking you can set up a warning. So it's just letting you know you will be going into negative. It's allowing you to do that. Also, it'll give you the option to proceed with recording that sales order. And also with this, you can change this setting at any point. Whereas with this, if you untick this and you don't, so when you start and you untick this option, you don't allow for negative inventory, and then some of your items go into negative, you can't all of a sudden say, oh no, we don't allow for it. Whereas this is flexible, you can change this at any point. So let's show this in action then. So let's put a warning on, select OK, and let's go process a sales order. Customer, let's pick an item. So we need to pick an item that's, so let's do dining chairs. So there is 8 in stock. Let's apply an price. So I don't know who needs more than 28 dining chairs, but this person does. So we're doing 29, and there you go. Here's the warning. There is no stock available for this item. Would you like to continue? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, we would. And then it allows you to record. Again, warning you. And it's recorded. So now we'll be in -1 for that particular item. So again, it depends on your workflow processes and what rules you have in your organization. So if we didn't want the warning to appear, then we'd put block. And if you allow for negative inventory and you're happy to do so, you can just stick allow. But it's probably best practice just to have the warning, just so you're on top of everything. So let's select OK. Let's go back out of here now. So again, another small but extremely useful feature. What's next on here? So next we have on here is Installment HP Sales. So what this is, it's hire purchase. So it's mainly used by our clients who are in the car dealership industry. So it's something, so it's a finance thing. So let's have a look. So you pay it off over a number of periods. You assign an interest rate to it. You have your initial deposit, etc. So to set this up, this is where you start. Again, back to the control panel. So you go to Terms, And so you need to create a term for it. So there's already one here, so let's dive into there. And this is how you'd set it up. So installment sale term, so 6 months. I don't know what car you'd pay off in 6 months. And then so you have your calculation statement date. It's due on the 5th of every month. So it's a very quick step 1. So that's step 1 covered. And then you'd go to accounts receivable. And then you need to create a customer category that is just for your clients who use HP, who are HP clients, effectively, your finance clients. So I think there's already one here. I think it might be this one. Let's have a look. Yes. So when you set up your category, you'll see this tick option at the bottom. So if it's unticked, you notice that tab just disappeared. So if we tick it, the HP comes up. Select on there. And this is where you set up all your settings. So your default deposit, penalty charge, etc., etc., and the tax code you're using. So that's step 2 in how you set up the HP. And then the third step, you go into the customer master file. Let's select Relax Dude. This isn't my database, so I'm not sure why one of my colleagues have called one of the customers Relax Dude. Okay, so then we have our payment terms. So here's the one we created in the control panel. So that's linked to the customer. And then we need to link them to the customer category for HP. And he's already assigned to it. So that's already previously been done. So now we'll select OK. And then for the final stage is to go to and actually demonstrate the functionality of this on the sales document. Once we've done step 1, 2, and 3, it's all set up. Let's go and record and show you how this actually works. So we need to select the customer we've assigned to be a HP client. This is just this is another setting in the control panel that just lets us know that this client has overdue invoices. Do you want to display them now? No, we don't on this particular case. And we select our item. So I don't think I have a car set up on here. So let's do a finance purchase for a fridge. So you see I've still got my warning set up in the control panel, so it's letting me know I'm going to go into negative inventory again. So would you like to continue? Yes, we would. We stick in our price. So let's say I'm not sure how much a fridge goes for. So we've got 10,000 Rand. Okay. So now what's different is, once I hit record, again there's the message, it comes up with this screen. So this is showing all the details, all the settings, what we set up, and it's calculated what the percentages work out to be. So you have your installment amount, your first installment date, your last one, and your initial deposit. So then we can actually print the agreement. So let's have a look. So we preview. This transaction will be recorded. Yes, we'd like to continue. So firstly, they have to pay the deposit. So you have the option of doing it in split payments, but let's just do it in cash for now. Click off there, select OK. So there's the deposit paid. Brilliant. And then here's our hire purchase agreement. So if we scroll down at the bottom, here's all the information. And that's our hire purchase. So again, there's quite a few steps to that. So again, I'd advise you rewatch the video, or let me know if you have any questions at the end. I'm happy to go through it again. What's next on the list now? So next we are coming to automated customer open order statements. So this is quite similar to how our customer statements are actually automated. So you can email them on the fly. So it's quite similar to that in regards. So before, if we go to reports, before all we had was this one. We only had this report, so open sales orders. And we'll select all customers. And you see here, it's combining all of our customers' open orders on one report, which is fine. But now we've gone one step further. So if we go up here, you'll see this new report, order statements, customer open sales order statements. So the main difference is, so let's go detail again, all customers, and we can now email it on the fly. So as soon as I click OK, it'll separate all the orders according to each customer, and it'll send it directly to their email as long as we have their email set up on the system. Which for these customers I don't, and if I do, I don't think I want those people receiving this sample email. So I'm just going to preview what it comes through. So you can see now it's separated them. Before it put all the customers on the same report. But here you can see we now have 5, one for each of our clients. And if we had the email addresses, it would have gone straight to their email. So it's just another good way just to remind our clients that they have orders open with them. It's a good way to remind them, you know. Maybe we'll encourage them to sign the deal. So again, another small but useful feature. This was another feature request we had from a client, in fact. Most of these are. And the next on the list, so the next one is Open Order Cancellation Management. So now if I go into the Receivable menu, let's go into the Sales Order. Let's go into a previous one. So this icon up here, this was already here, which you're probably fully aware it was already there. But your staff members were able to remove orders without giving a reason for it, which is probably not best practice. I mean, you want to know why your orders are getting cancelled. I mean, they were all potential sales to begin with, so you want to know why they're getting cancelled or removed. So let's have a look. So again, to set this up, back to the control panel, reason codes. Can't open reason codes with Windows open. Please close all windows and try again. So we just close our windows, reason codes, and here. So reason codes already existed before. We had it for credit notes and authorization, but now we've included it for cancellation of quotes and orders. So you can see I've already got one set up here. This is a reason that we've got for clients, for orders being removed off the system. So maybe the client's just simply no longer interested in the product. Perhaps they found a better deal elsewhere. So you can set them up here. So let's retrace our steps. Back to a sales order. Go back. So before, if you hit remove, it would just simply take it off there, and there'd be no trace and no reason assigned to why this was removed from the system. So now if we select it, it gives you this message: are you sure you want to cancel the remainder of this order? Your user ID will be logged as part of the transaction. So not only do you have a reason assigned to it, you know exactly which user has removed this. Would you like to continue? Yes, we would. And here's our reason codes. And now I've clicked on it to allow me to select OK. If I don't click on it, it won't allow me to bypass. I won't be able to remove it without giving a reason. So we'll select OK. So we're removing this one because the customer has declared they're no longer interested. So let's close. And there's a report on this. So let's have a look. Cancelled sales documents, cancelled sales orders and quotes. Let's put detail, all customers. This is our users on the system, so let's have a look who's done what. And I've only removed the one sales order on my database, so it's just pulling through the one. So it's got today's date, the date of entry, and the original requirement date, and here's your reason. And it's telling you what was part of that order. So this is the amount, this is the sales order's value that we've removed from the system. And yeah, so that gives us all that information. So it tells you the customer it was for, etc., etc. So now let's go back out of here, and then obviously you can also filter this by user. If you want to know which users removed what, you can filter it by user. Moving on to the next one. So next we've got delivery costs. So this is quite a strong new feature on here. So if we go to the warehouse function and we go to delivery methods. So before, we used to have delivery methods and you'd just be able to say, well, this is getting there by truck or ship or whatever. And it was just a reporting tool really, just to so you know what the delivery method was. But we've gone beyond that and we've really enhanced upon it. So now what you can do is, so let's have a look. I'm going to create a new delivery method. And let's go and call this. So it's going to base the delivery cost based on certain variables. And this one I'm going to do based on distance. So how far the client, so the cost of delivery is determined by how far the client is in terms of delivery. So let's call it distance 1. So I think there might be another one already created called distance. I'm just calling it distance 1. So firstly we assign our code. So our service, so I have a service for delivery. Let's select our tax code. We can assign a minimum charge. So just in case we're unwilling to deliver anything below a certain value, that means even if the client lives next door, we're going to charge him 50 rand. And here's our billing method. So here's the variables, what we're going to base our delivery cost on. So we have the fixed rate, so it's a flat rate. So basically if the client, like I said, is based next door or is across the other side of the country in Cape Town, we're in Joburg here, so in that case if I'm going to apply a fixed rate, then it's going to cost me, the delivery cost is going to be the same for that client who's next door than it is for the person in Cape Town. So the other option is total mass and volumetric weight. So it'll be based on the weight of the delivery, the weight of the order. Or you can do it on the greater of the two values. And then you can do it on the number of units ordered, so depending on the quantity of items that have been purchased. Or like the one in my example, I'm using distance to client. So let's go there. And then down here, this is where the pricing matrix is set up. So it's quite a simple structure. So if a client lives between 1 and 10 kilometers away, let's charge them 150 rand. If they are 11 to 20 kilometers away, let's charge them 250. And I imagine you're getting the idea from now, so it's 300, and there we go. So if a client's 13 kilometers away, they'll obviously be charged the delivery cost of 250 rand. So we also have this option here, so it's variable cost per mass unit. So if I select on there, so the setup is extremely similar, in fact it's exactly the same, but the delivery cost is drastically different. So let's say, I'm just going to make the calculation because I'm going to use a calculation, so let's give me one which is easier for myself. So in this instance, if a client is 8 kilometers away, obviously it falls in this date range. So with this option, fixed cost, if they're based 8 kilometers away, then the delivery cost will be 100 rand. However, we select this option, the distance of 8 kilometers is actually multiplied by this amount. So instead of being 100 rand, it'll be 800 rand. So there's a drastic difference between the setup of both. So you need to make sure what you actually intend to do to begin with. So this is the most popular one to go with, as you might imagine. So now we've set up our delivery method. So we'll select OK. So if you just want to remember these, because we're going to use this as an example a bit later, so I'm going to go into customer master file. In the customer master file, I need to give the client a distance of how weather based, and then on the sales document, it'll calculate it and multiply it, and depending on what category it falls in, which range it falls in. So I'm going to assign a distance of, let's say, 8 kilometers. On the sales document, let's hope it pulls through 100 rand. So if we select OK, what's this asking for me here? That's because I've got one created already. Let me just go back out of here. Distance road. Distance to clients. Because I'm using the same name again. Let me go back. Distance. Okay, so we go into customers now. And just to let you know, there is a couple of features on here. So the next one I'm covering is contract billing, which is this one here. And I don't know if some of you are already on version 10, but this one doesn't exist on your version. It's still in testing at the moment. So I'm on the version I'm on is still in testing. So that might be why I saw that error come up there. I'm not too sure what it's referring to. So that I am running on a testing version at the moment. So contract billing is another feature that isn't quite ready yet. but I'm going to cover it just now after we've gone through the delivery costs. But anyway, so now we've got a delivery method set up. We're going to link it to a customer. So I'm going to go into a customer, select Paul, and you go to shipping location. So we're going to give Paul a distance. So let me just give a name of his location. So Davon Hall. This is the name of my house back in the UK, and a distance of 8 kilometers. So on the sales document, that's what it's going to calculate it on, based on the 8 kilometers here. So we select OK now. Let's go back, warehousing. I just want to go back into this distance just so we can see exactly what we expect to come through. So yeah, between this distance, so we expect 100 to come through. 100 rand we expect to pull through to the sales document. What I did miss there was we need to link the customer to the default delivery method. So it's distance. This is just going to pull through the default one. You can change it on the sales document itself. So we'll select OK. Sales invoice. Any sales document for that matter. I think it was Paul we did. I should always stick to the same customer. Yes, it is Paul, and it doesn't matter what item we select. And you can see it's automatic. As soon as we selected the customer, it's pulled through the delivery method distance, and it's pulled through the delivery cost of 100. And so you can also view and change the delivery method. So maybe we want it to be based on weight. So at the moment it's 0. That's because we're using an item that doesn't have item weights linked to it in the inventory master file. So let's pick my potatoes from earlier. And there you go, it's brought in a value. So we'd have to go, so let's go check. So let's go and check the delivery method for weight. And hopefully, so that weighs 10 kilograms. Let's go see if it's pulled through the right price. Yeah, we can discard it. Go to warehouse, delivery methods, weight, and 10 kilograms, 150. So there you go, you can see it's changed it accordingly, depending on the delivery method that it's linked to. So let's cancel out of there. And yeah, that's the delivery methods. There's a few steps to it, but it's a powerful feature for sure. Back on the YouTube video, I think we do have one on delivery methods, delivery costs rather. There's one here, and you can see item weights, etc. So if you and this goes step by step. This whole 6 minutes is based just on the delivery costs, step by step. And it'll be my Pommy accent coming through again as well, unfortunately. So next we've got contract billing. So I think it's 7 minutes to 4 now, so I think we'll make it just in time, and we can take a couple of questions if you have. So let's go to contract billing. So here, and like I said, this one isn't quite ready. It'll be ready within the next week or 2. So firstly, what you do is, so there's 3 steps to it. Step 1 is this icon, step 2 this one, and then step 3 is over here. So contract billing types. We're going to create a type. So it might be like 6 months. 6 months. And so the frequency, how often we're going to charge. So I mean, if it was for something like rent, it would be monthly, typically anyway. And then you choose the day of the month you're going to run the invoice. So let's say the last day of the month. Charge immediately on activation date. So as soon as we set the contract, the first invoice is going to run. Limit occurrences too. So this means how many times the invoices can run over this period. So let's create this one. So select OK. And we've done step 1. Step 2, contract billing. I should actually probably reiterate it. So before, on earlier versions, we have this cycle billing, which is very basic and simplistic in nature. Whereas this contract billing is a complete overhaul of this feature and a lot more in depth. I think they might even go as far to remove this one, completely by this one. So if we go into contract billing, so now on here, we select our customer. Let's go for Paul again. So this is where we're setting up the contract with the clients. There's no financial implications here, it's just setting up the contract. let's select our item. Again, let's go for the fridge, probably a poor example, but nevertheless, and we'll apply, I should probably have something set up called rent. Maybe rent would be a better example. So let's just pretend this is rent for the sake of the example, and say rent's 9,000. So this is how much it costs every time you invoice. So per month, you're paying the 9,000. You link your tax and whatnot. You can have your salesperson, delivery method, and everything else. So now we go to the contract details. So the contract template, so let's say it's a 6-month rental agreement. It was created on today's date. Billing frequency is monthly. It's going to start, because we didn't tick the option so it immediately runs on the date the contract's created, it's not straight away, so it's going to run on the end of this month. The next billing date is on this date. And you can allow for annual increases. You can set that up, put in 20%, and when does the price increase by that amount. And then you hit record. So you record your contract. And so now we've just set it up. So everything we've done so far has no financial implications whatsoever. So now we're going to go process the first invoice. So we go into process contract billing. So here, you can see it's blank, although it's set up a contract so far. So what you need to do is, this date range, you need to include your entire contractual length. So let's go up to here, get data, and here it is. And it says the last process date. So because we haven't done an invoice yet for this client, it's blank, and the next one is at the end of the month. Although we're only halfway through the month, just for the sake of demonstration, we're going to run it. So in an ideal world, you'd have multiple lines here. And as soon as you click process invoices, get this message. It's just letting you know that we're done in chronological order. Should an error occur, the item will be removed from the list and must be sorted manually on the sales screen. Select OK. So now it's automatically going to pull through the invoice and record it. Try again, select it. And there we go. So it's pulled up the invoice. I'm not sure what I did wrong the first time. But like I said, this one's still in testing. So, and it's recorded it straight away. So that's the first invoice done. So if I close there, go back here. Again, let's select distant date range. And here, see last process date. It's letting us know we've done it on today's date. And the next one is at the end of the month. So that's how the contract billing works. Not available quite yet, but I anticipate in the next week or two. I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. I think it's a good time to stop. Next we'll go into accounts payable. Does anyone have any questions at all? Mac, I think your name's George. Do you have a question? Sorry, your sound's not. Your sound's not. Sorry, the sound's not too clear. Could you type your message into? Could you type your question into the chat if you don't mind? Sorry, it's just quite a bad echo coming on there. If you can try and repeat your question there, please. Okay, I'm just going to mute your microphone. If you could put your question into the... No question, George. Okay, no problem. Anyone else? We've got 9 attendees here. I kind of addressed all of your... I'm sure you have some questions there. But if you don't feel like putting them through now, do feel free to contact us directly or send me an email myself. So let me just put it up here again as it's gone off screen. So I'm Palladium.coza or support@Palladium.coza. Is it possible, thanks for the question, Bamtu, is it possible to download and save a full installation onto a disk? Yes, it is possible. You can definitely do that. So if you just send a message through to support at Palladium and just ask for the download link, and we'll certainly get to that to you. We'll just have to check with the account. So the upgrade is 100% free to people who are either on the subscription option or on a support contract with us. If you purchased outright and you're not on a support contract, you have a couple of options. So you can either take out a support contract with us and then get a discount on the upgrade, or you can purchase the new version. Any further questions, anyone? If there's no more questions, so tomorrow we'll proceed with accounts payable. So we'll begin with purchase order approvals. It'll be my colleague Anthony. He'll be running through the training with you tomorrow. And yeah. Okay, it doesn't seem like there's any more questions. So thanks for attending, everyone. So I'm going to publish this this video, and it'll be uploaded to YouTube tomorrow. And I'll get one of my colleagues who will upload it and send everyone an email just to let you know that it has been uploaded. But do subscribe to our YouTube channel and let us know what videos you'd like to see next on what particular features. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate your attendance. And my colleague Anthony will finish up with the training with you guys tomorrow. Pleasure, John. Thanks, George. And thanks, Babatunde. Forgive me if I pronounce it incorrectly. Thanks. Cheers, guys. Thanks, Hein. Have a nice evening.